Joe Rogan just stopped mid-podcast when Candace Owens dropped footage the world wasn't supposed to see about Charlie Kirk's death. Now, something doesn't add up, and you're absolutely right. Right now, while everyone else stays quiet, Candace Owens is digging into details that make people uncomfortable. You're about to see leaked clips, strange behavior from people who should be grieving, and questions that nobody in power wants to answer. Stick with me here, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this case is raising red flags all over the internet. Before we get into the leaked footage, let me give you the quick version of what happened so far with Candace tapes and everything else. So as we all know, Charlie Kirk was shot at a university campus in Utah. The authorities arrested a 21-year-old and said case closed. But here's the problem, and I mean this literally. The official story has holes big enough to drive a truck through. That's when Candace Owens started digging. And what she found? Well, it changed everything. Even Joe Rogan, who's heard thousands of crazy stories on his podcast, is calling out how weird this whole situation is. Look, Charlie Kirk wasn't just some random guy, and this wasn't just another shooting. You need to understand that before we dive deeper. Alright, let's start with what Candace just revealed. She went on record and said something shocking. We're getting close to knowing who really killed Charlie Kirk, but here's the twist that made everyone pause. She also said, maybe we don't actually want to know the truth. Think about that for a second. Why would anyone say we don't want the truth? Let me show you exactly what she said.
Supposed to be partners in this. Don't we all want to find out who killed Charlie Kirk? And the answer is no. We don't all want to find out who killed Charlie Kirk. I think that's apparent, right? It's pretty obvious that we do not all want to find out who murdered Charlie Kirk because they're not acting right. Nobody is acting right now. And it's stunning. We are making so many discoveries in this case. And I have to tell you guys, we're getting close. We're getting close. Very close, I think, to what actually happened on that day. And I'm getting the suspicion that there were some foreign entities involved.
Candace asks a simple question. Don't we all want to find out who killed Charlie Kirk? Then she answers her own question. And the answer is no. She's saying out loud what everyone's thinking, but nobody wants to admit. We don't all want to find out who did this. Then she drops this line, and it's stunning. We are making so many discoveries in this case. You can hear it in her voice. She's found things that shock even her. And Candace isn't easy to shock, trust me. But wait, it gets heavier. She says something that should make your spine tingle. I'm getting the suspicion that there were some foreign entities involved. Foreign entities. Let that sink in. We're not talking about some lone wolf here. We're talking about possible international involvement in an American citizen's death on American soil. What did Candace discover that shocked even her own supporters? And why would powerful people not want the truth to come out? Keep that question in your mind because what comes next is going to blow it wide open. So Candace didn't stop there. She dropped another bomb that honestly sounds like it came out of a spy movie. Egyptian military contractors were in Utah on the exact same day Charlie Kirk died. I know what you're thinking, that sounds wild. But here's the thing, Candace isn't asking you to just believe her. She's literally challenging anyone to prove her wrong.
Why are Egyptian military subcontractors, what are Egyptian military subcontractors doing in the middle of Provo, Utah on the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, okay? Again, I am saying as a fact, Kash Patel, please feel free to dispute this. In fact, I almost demand that you dispute it. I think you must. You've been saying everybody's conspiracy theorists. Conspiracies are dangerous. Thinking is dangerous. That aircraft was not in Utah for any routine servicing, okay? Rather extraordinarily, this person told me that it was there on some discreet mission. So discreet that this individual was scared for their life to present this information, but felt compelled to present it because they too were horrified like the rest of the world. Again, the mistake that was made here was executing him publicly. People felt something, right? They felt something. They understood whatever happened here was a tremendous act of evil.
Candace asks straight up. She's demanding answers, not making wild guesses. Now here's where it gets really interesting. She reveals something huge. That aircraft was not in Utah for any routine servicing. So this wasn't some scheduled maintenance stop. This wasn't normal. Someone with inside knowledge told her this plane had a different purpose for being there. And get this, Candace explains why we're even hearing about this. So discreet that this individual was scared for their life to present this information. Someone risked everything to expose this detail. Think about that. An insider was so terrified that they almost didn't come forward. So now we've got a military plane from Egypt on a secret mission in Utah, on the same day Charlie Kirk gets shot. You have to wonder, and I mean really wonder, what were they actually doing there? What kind of mission requires Egyptian military contractors to be in a small Utah town? This isn't me making connections that aren't there. These are documented facts that someone risked their safety to reveal. Now, this next part is going to hit different, because Candace didn't just investigate after Charlie died. She actually knew him. They talked, they exchanged messages, and Charlie told her things that, looking back now, sound like warnings. Candace leaked some of these private messages, and they're not just friendly chats about random stuff. Charlie knew something was coming.
So let me get this straight. We're supposed to believe the official narrative of what happened to Charlie Kirk. Mikey McCoy, Charlie's chief of staff, was on the phone before Charlie's body ever hit the ground. He was still on the phone as he was walking away. What could he have possibly been talking about? Because he has no idea what was happening behind him. Charlie's closest allies and friends were filming themselves while he was being carried out to the car. No instinct to run and help him or run away. Sorry, but this isn't normal no matter which way you put this. Candace is the only one digging into what actually happened, which is why they're attacking her so hard for it. Not to mention, she released even more messages of Charlie saying, "I'm not sure if I'll live to see the end of this revolution," and tells Candace, "I believe you're the piece that God meant for me to meet. Cannot explain it, but I dream of it all the time." And then says, "If that's the case, be my David." I wonder if these same people who mocked Candace Owens for talking about a dream will mock Charlie for it as well. Clearly, the people who are coming after Candace lack any sort of discernment. Instead, they play into the forgiveness done in public, like Charlie Kirk's wife did, and letting off fireworks for his rally, funeral. Candace is the only one digging into the truth of what happened. She's exposing all of the corruption and they hate her for it.
You can see a message where Charlie wrote, "I'm not sure if I'll live to see the end of this revolution." Read that again. He wasn't sure if he'd survive. This wasn't some dramatic exaggeration. Charlie genuinely believed his life was at risk. Then he tells Candace something deeply personal. "I believe you're the piece that God meant for me to meet." He's talking about divine purpose. He's telling her that meeting her was part of a bigger plan. And then Charlie makes a simple request: be my David. If you know the biblical story, David was the one who took down Goliath. Charlie was asking Candace to be his voice if something happened to him, to take on the giant that he couldn't defeat alone. Let me be clear about something. Charlie literally told Candace he might not survive what he was doing. He was planning for what would happen after his death. And this wasn't paranoia talking. Charlie knew the risks he was taking. He knew the kind of people he was challenging, and he knew they had the power to silence him. The question you should be asking right now is, what did Charlie know that made him fear for his life? This is where things take a really dark turn. Candace released never-before-seen footage from right after Charlie got shot, and I'm going to be straight with you. The behavior you're about to hear about doesn't make any sense. Charlie's closest friends were there when it happened. You'd expect panic, right? You'd expect someone to rush over and try to help. You'd expect shock and tears, but that's not what happened.
A close friend of Charlie chose to run just a few yards away up to a grassy knoll to take out his phone. A couple of seconds later, he takes out his phone and he begins recording himself. It's a selfie video. He takes a video of himself. So let's watch that video.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. He's dead. God help him.
That's the first time it was announced, actually, that Charlie Kirk was dead. Kind of weird. Go ahead, catch your breath, hit rewind, watch it again, watch it over and over again like I did, because you're probably thinking out loud, what the F did I just watch? What's going on? What were Charlie's closest friends and allies and the people that were going to carry on the torch doing? Picking up phone calls they were already on and filming themselves and prematurely announcing when not a single person could have known that Charlie Kirk is dead.
According to the footage analysis, one of Charlie's close friends made a really strange choice. Instead of helping, he chose to run just a few yards away up to a grassy knoll to take out his phone. Wait, what? Your best friend just got shot and you run away to grab your phone? But it gets weirder. We learn that he takes out his phone and he begins recording himself. Not recording the scene to document what happened. Not calling 911, recording himself, like a selfie video. You can hear him say, "They just shot Charlie." Okay, so he knows what happened. But then why isn't he helping? Then the friend says he's dead. And here's what really bothers people about this. The narrator points out that's the first time it was announced, actually, that Charlie Kirk was dead. How did this friend know Charlie was dead before medical professionals arrived? How did he know for certain when he was yards away filming himself instead of checking on his friend? The timeline doesn't work. The behavior doesn't match someone who just lost their best friend. This is the kind of stuff that keeps people up at night. Because when someone you love gets hurt, you don't think about content creation. You don't think about getting footage. You think about saving them, period. Now let's talk about Joe Rogan. This man has interviewed thousands of people. He's heard conspiracy theories about everything under the sun, and he usually stays pretty neutral about most things. But when he sat down and looked at the Charlie Kirk case, he couldn't stay quiet. Joe Rogan tore apart the official narrative piece by piece, and even he couldn't believe what the authorities are trying to sell us.
Said that he took it apart and then put it back together again? Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not gonna fit.
Not gonna fit in a backpack.
And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof. What? This story is horseshit. Like none of these things make any sense to me. Like you're telling me that this kid who's not military trained, this guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? How come nobody was like, there's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs? You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? Like that's insane. So he's on the roof, he shoots, he jumps from the roof. He jumps down 14 feet.
Yeah, we saw didn't they have video of him jump? Somebody had a cell phone video of him jumping.
There's
down,
a video
right?
of him jumping. So this guy, whoever it is, jumps off of the roof and lands, whether or not he's even the guy who shot him. Maybe he thought he was gonna shoot him. Maybe he's a patsy. Maybe he did it.
I feel like he's a plant. Did you see the video? Did you see the person doing the investigating on his mom's Facebook?
No.
You haven't seen this? Have you seen that, Jamie? Some dude online.
His mom's got a weird Facebook. I spill coffee.
Very trippy. It doesn't make any sense. Like the more they keep looking into it, the more they're like, this doesn't feel like a real. It feels super fabricated.
But here's the thing. Just like I was talking about when people are arguing on social media, it's all part of the plan. You want people to lose all faith that anyone is going to solve anything.
Yeah.
You had a bunch of, if you're going to kill a guy, you had a bunch of other wacky shit that doesn't make any sense and you spam it out there at the same time. You leave a gun that didn't do it out in the woods. You do a bunch of shit like that. There was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombings.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place, and then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child porn right away.
Right after this happened?
Oh, right away. He's in jail for child porn. Why is that? Well, now you can't interview him.
Right, right.
And because when the internet people start going, how are you at all these different things? Like, what are the odds? Like, if someone ran it through one of the ChatGPT fucking perplexity things, like, what are the odds that this guy would be at all those different events and be involved? Like, zero.
Joe's immediate reaction says it all. They said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the up. He's talking about the rifle. The official story claims the shooter disassembled the gun, got it on the roof, and reassembled it. Joe, who knows guns and has talked to military experts, isn't buying it. Then Joe summarizes what we're all thinking. This story is horseshit. Like none of these things make any sense to me. Joe asks the questions nobody in authority wants to answer. You're telling me that this kid, who's not military trained, first of all, how did he get to the roof? According to gun experts, the rifle story makes zero sense. Joe reveals he gets arrested for child porn right away. This decoy guy who was yelling, I did it, at the scene, immediately arrested on serious charges. And Joe points out why this matters. Why's that? Well, now you can't interview him. Once someone's in jail on those kinds of charges, good luck getting answers from them. Convenient, right? But wait, there's more. This same decoy guy was supposedly at 9/11, and at the Boston bombing, and at other major events. Joe says something chilling. He's clearly insane. and or not, or he's professionally insane. Joe's pointing out that the pattern is too perfect to be random. What are the odds one guy shows up at multiple major tragic events? Either he's got the worst luck in human history, or someone's paying him to create chaos and confusion. Either way, something isn't right. And Joe Rogan, on the biggest podcast in the world, is saying it out loud. Okay, now things get even weirder, and this part made people across the internet stop scrolling and pay attention. People started noticing something strange between Erica Kirk, that's Charlie's widow, and J.D. Vance, the vice president. The body language at public events raised a lot of eyebrows. Like, a lot.
Holy shit, they are trying to replace Usha Vance with Erica Kirk, because Erica Kirk and J.D. Vance is their Christian nationalist wet dream, and you won't convince me otherwise. What is this? This body language? When did we start putting our hands up in the hair of our friends when we hug? Yeah, no, you don't. This is weird. Oh, and then there's this one. J.D., why are your hands so low? There's no reason for them to be on her hips, but there they are. But if that's not enough, here is her introducing him at Turning Point.
I am tremendously blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend and his wife. They are incredible, and I see no one will ever replace my husband. No, but I do see some similarities of my husband in JD. And Vice President J.D. Vance. I do.
And if you're not convinced yet that they're trying to replace her with Erica Kirk, this is him when asked by a student about him and his wife's difference in their religious beliefs, and he ends it with this.
Do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
He wants her to fall in line. He wants her to be a Christian nationalist just like him. And if he can't convince her, he'll find a new one.
Someone asks a really good question. When did we start putting our hands up in the hair of our friends when we hug yet? You can see in the footage that the hugs between Erica and JD don't look like normal friend hugs. They look different. Another observation. Why are your hands so low? There's no reason for them to be on her hips. When you hug a friend whose spouse just died, you don't put your hands on their hips. That's just not how grief support works. But here's what really got people talking. Erica is introducing J.D. Vance at an event. She says, "And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No, but I do see some similarities of my husband and J.D. Hold up, your husband just died, and you're publicly comparing the vice president to him? That's an incredibly strange thing to say so soon after losing your spouse." And then there's what J.D. Vance said in a completely separate interview. When asked about his wife's different religious beliefs, he admits, I do wish that my wife converts to Christianity, because I believe in the Christian gospel." Now people are connecting dots. Erica is comparing JD to her dead husband. JD publicly wants his wife to convert to his religion. The body language looks off, and everyone's noticing. I'm not saying anything is definitely happening here, but people are watching, and they're asking questions. And those questions are fair. This next section is going to make you uncomfortable, because we're going to talk about how Erica Kirk acted after Charlie died, and her actions don't match what you'd expect from a grieving widow.
Something off with Erica Kirk. What she is wearing seems a bit inappropriate to mourn your husband, who was literally taken out for the entire world to see. This woman is not grieving anything. She skipped straight to acceptance. This is most definitely PR, and they're using your grief for marketing. And the fact that Charlie Kirk's assassination is still being covered up, she is still walking around with the same security from September 10th, saying she's so excited for the new content that she'll be releasing. Isn't it strange how a widow stepped into the CEO role? She did 3 speeches already, one at a stadium. Charlie's family didn't even speak, and she's selling t-shirts. And is already hosting her husband's podcast, now doing an all-American halftime show with performers. She's not even home with her 2 young children who just lost their dad. Not to mention how they're still trying to cover up her ties in Romania, which if you look at my previous video titled Charlie Kirk was betrayed, it gets pretty wild. Anyone who is still buying this up because of Christian forgiveness needs to listen up. This is not strength. It's theater. Christians are not told to ignore evil. Forgiveness is not done in public like this. This is how they package a tragedy to make you feel good instead of asking real questions.
People noticed. What she is wearing seems a bit inappropriate to mourn your husband. When you just lost your spouse in a violent, public way, most people don't think about fashion. But Erica's outfits at public events got people talking. The observation is even more direct. She skipped straight to acceptance. There are stages of grief, right? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Erica seems to have jumped straight to the end. We learn she's saying she's so excited for the new content that she'll be releasing. Excited about content when your husband just died? She did 3 speeches already. 3 speeches, days after losing her husband. Most widows can barely get out of bed, and she's not even home with her 2 young children who just lost their dad. Her kids just lost their father, and she's out doing speeches and events.
Because this is not going to be a forever thing of me being on hosting the show, was because I gave assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are so blessed to have more work than we even could ever dream of. I mean, it's
This second source backs it up. You can hear Erica say, "We are so blessed to have more work than we even could ever dream of." The words blessed and work and dream, those aren't words most people use days after their spouse is murdered. The narrator points out what everyone's thinking. She seems really upbeat, really happy, only days after her husband was assassinated. And they describe what viewers saw. That looks like smiles. That looks like laughing and happiness and joy. Look, everyone grieves differently, I get that. But Erica took over Turning Point USA immediately. She's selling t-shirts with Charlie's name. She's hosting his podcast. She's doing halftime shows with performers. Her clothes, her smile, her energy, none of it matches grief. Meanwhile, her children just lost their father, and instead of being home with them, she's building a brand. That's not judgment, that's just what's happening. Let's quickly talk about what happened in court. The alleged shooter, Tyler James Robinson, had a hearing, and the judge made some unusual decisions. The judge ruled that Tyler will appear in civilian clothes, not in a jail jumpsuit. That's unusual for someone accused of murder. The judge also said the restraints must be concealed, and the media can't photograph him entering or exiting the courtroom. Why all the special treatment? Why protect his image so carefully? What are they trying to hide from the public? These questions matter because the answers might tell us more about what's really going on. So here's where we are right now. We've got leaked footage showing strange behavior from Charlie's closest friends. We've got Candace Owens revealing foreign military involvement. We've got messages from Charlie predicting his own death. We've got Joe Rogan on the biggest podcast in the world calling the official story nonsense. We've got suspicious behavior from people who should be grieving. And we've got a court system giving unusual special treatment to the alleged shooter. Candace Owens is risking everything to expose what really happened. She's facing attacks from all sides, but she keeps digging. Joe Rogan is using his massive platform to ask the questions that need to be asked. Meanwhile, the people closest to Charlie are acting like nothing's wrong, like everything's normal. You saw the clips, you heard the inconsistencies, you connected the dots yourself. The question isn't whether something's off anymore. Everyone can feel that something's wrong. The real question is, what actually happened that day in Utah? And why are so many powerful people working so hard to make sure we never find out? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you buying the official story, or do you think there's something bigger going on here? Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.